CO everybody. I started learning Cherokee 3 weeks ago. And usually at this point, you know, if, like, even in, like, Mandarin and stuff, I'd be able to speak the language at this point. I'm not saying, like, natively, but I can construct sentences, right? Not in Cherokee, not yet. I'm actually still learning, like, how everything works. So, for the first week and a half, I was probably sitting there just memorizing the 86 characters of the syllabary, which is kind of daunting at first, but honestly for me, what helped me out, I guess a little learner's tip here. You may have seen a video of me talking about the Cherokee syllabary. This is actually the page that I recorded the video on. So if you go to that video, it's actually this page in this notebook. Then we begin the verb section after that. All of this stuff is just syllabary practice and whatnot. But, if you make a table just like that, put the consonant values on the side, and put the vowels on the top, and just kind of read it. But not just read it. It might sound tedious and boring, but you don't realize how much it helps until you've done it for a while. What helped me, I think, accelerate my learning on that was I just had to keep writing the character down and saying the phonetic value either while I was writing it or right after. So if I had it'd just be and do that 20 times or 10 times. But usually I write it 20 times, and after each time of writing that character, I make the phonetic sound it makes, which helped out a lot and kind of blasted me through that. The hard part is I can't find a whole lot of resources on the tonal system. I just found out about this book here on the tonal system of, this is Oklahoma Cherokee, but I'm really not, you're kind of like learning all these dialects at the same time, right? Overhill and then the Carolina variety. I was trying to just learn what would have been spoken in North Carolina, but it kind of looks like you kind of just have to learn it all. And, I've studied tonal languages in the past, but never really like this, where, like, stems could change tone to inflect a different tense. This is probably the first time I've really studied a language with this many prefixes. Like, the verb is king in Cherokee. You have a verb root, and that's like the basis on which the other pieces of the puzzle construct themselves on. So, like here, it's like I'm leaving it behind. You have the verb, you have the prefix here, G, and then you have the suffix for the tense, which this is just present, so it would be a. So it should be Jana'iya, Iya'a, or Ijinea, which is you're all holding it, but you're talking about a flexible object. So that could be anything from a t-shirt, perhaps a piece of paper, a slinky, like all of these things, right? And you have Ohuska. Long neutral is falling from up high, which basically it's saying that a long object or a neutral object, which from my understanding as it currently sits, and take this with a grain of salt because I'm not super well read on it yet, I am thinking neutral is like either something that can't really be classified in the Cherokee, like object classification, or maybe an abstract ideal or an abstract object. Basically, you're saying that is falling from a pie. And then we've got ujatitaska, which I probably totally just butchered, and I totally apologize. They and I are drinking it. Again, there's literally you're not saying they and I in Cherokee. You're using a pronoun prefix that means they and I. There is a dedicated prefix for that concept. Now, from a native Proto-Indo-European language speaker standpoint, some of these concepts are really alien, and they're really hard to try to put in a context that you understand, because we don't have pronouns that indicate someone is doing something to someone. We just have two pronouns and a very rigid word order that's not fluid at all, because, the dog bites the cat. You can't flip the words around and make it mean the same thing. In our mind, as Proto-Indo-European speakers, the dog biting the cat and the cat biting the dog are two different scenarios, right? But in Cherokee, you might have a sentence where, he's doing something to her. But that's one word. That's one concept right before the verb. Then it's similar to English, at least with the past and present, where the tenses seem to be a suffix on the end, but the future is as well in Cherokee. The tones, I still got to practice a lot on them, so I'm happy to find this book at least. I've got probably 10 books on this language right now, including, again, this 256-page manuscript on how to construct, and I guess you could say, deconstructing Cherokee grammar to digestible pieces, right? So, yeah, we could go through, another example here. That would be Hiolihoi. Hiolihoi. You always greet him. Hioliha. You are greeting him. Hioli la'i. La'i. Greet him later. Hioli la'i. You greeted him. Hioli le'i. I heard that you greeted him. Because they have a reported past, which means you weren't there to witness the event, but you heard from word of mouth. It would be like saying people are saying that you greeted him. I heard that you greeted him. That would be what it translates into in English. Then this one we have Tiyolili. You will greet him. Hioliga. Lika. You just now greeted him. Hiolika. Greet him. Hiolisti. For you to greet him. That would be like infinitive. So yeah, it morphs a lot. If we want to talk about these notes here for a second, my own handwritten notes on this language, it got complex to a point where I was like, I need to start highlighting the prefixes so I know. Then it got to a point where the tense suffixes got added, so I actually had to start color coding entire words with different colors. And I sort of settled here. You might notice that some of these words have characters which have multiple colors, and that's to illustrate the morphing of the verb. So this here, that verb stem starts with ah. So it's black for the verb stem, but red to highlight the pronominal prefix. And at the end here, we have it in blue to denote the tense that it's in. So I really had to think outside of the box to help myself understand this better. But as of now, I'm still I'm still studying every day, except for 3 days a week. That's when I work my 12s. And, because I don't really feel like doing anything at the end of the day. After that, even though I want to, your brain's just not there. At least mine isn't. But, you know, I have to split everything up. Here we have all the tenses. Like, that's also an alien concept to me. I think I already said this. But Cherokee has 9 tenses. 3 present, 3 past, 2 future, an infinitive tense. I think I covered everything there. There's all these different tables. It really gets aggravating because you wish it was a little more covered and a little more accessible, but this is kind of the challenge when we try to learn endangered languages. Fortunately, I am in classes with the Cherokee Nation. Their program's alright. It's the foremost authority on it, I would say. It's just that it's kind of hard to like accelerate through it because at first I was totally fresh. Never had looked at the well, I mean, I knew what the syllabary looked like, but I never studied it. And that's fine, you know, learning that's great. And then learning like basic words is another thing. But then they start throwing sentences at you, and they want you to like memorize these sentences to pass like pre-exam quizzes. And it gets a little aggravating because it's like, hold on, like I don't even know how the grammar is working here. But that's neither here nor there. There's another, if you look online, there's a website called 7,000 Languages, which seems to be pretty much dedicated to basically like Native American linguistics or just generally endangered languages, and it's all done through this transparent language. Now you kind of got to click on one and go through this portal, and then it'll take you to the site I'm talking about. But that has a lot more like audio-based examples. I feel like that really helps with like memorizing the tones of words, because like, you know, in Russian or in English, you don't necessarily have to memorize a tone of a word. You just have to understand the consonant clusters, how the vowels structure themselves in the word, so on and so forth. But Cherokee, you know, you can mess up a tone on one syllable and you're changing the entire meaning of a word. I wonder if I still have it up. No. There's an example where like the tone marker was like, you know, same character, the tone slightly higher on one, and it switched the meaning from like I'm finding it to like I'm celebrating or something like that. I can't remember, but it was like 2 completely different concepts. But that is the learning pain so far of the Cherokee language. I do, you know, I can speak a little bit of it, but I can't like speak off my head freely yet. I kind of am still speaking in phrases. But I do plan to like kind of release dialogues and stuff because I kind of want this to be like a journey that I'm documenting, because I want to see how advanced I can get in it. So yeah, we started this back in February. I don't really have any concerns over time. This is just kind of like a passion project, so that's about it. But I'm pretty excited to see how this goes. But that's how it's been so far. That's about all, y'all. Until next time.